One of the best things about Minecraft is that it's a sandbox game, which means you can adventure, build and gather your resources in whichever way you want to. But if you're building something that you want to look fantastic, you really need it all to match. So I'm going to show you 5 ways that you can make your mine entrance look brilliant. Don't you go anywhere. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night, depending on what time you're watching this next episode from me, Amamans. Today, doing something just a little bit different. I have created 5 examples of mine entrances that you can come and have a look at and see what you think. Each of these mine entrances are set in a different biome, and when you download this world, yes, there is a world download, you will find yourself here. And then you can go through any one of these 5 gates, which will take you to any one of the 5 mines that I've made for you. At each mine site, you'll find a little gate that you can go through that will bring you straight back here. So don't panic about getting lost. If you do enjoy this video or any of the other videos I make for you, then please do remember to hit the like button. And also, if you've not done it, hit the subscribe button as well. It really does help out the channel. Okay, I guess let's do these things in order. Let's get ourselves over to the Plains mine and I'll show you how I made it. This design to go in a plains area is by the edge of a lake, so we've got a small jetty just to give access, but the design would work even if you had a bit of a cliff face on any plains area. We just got a fairly basic opening with some oak struts using spruce to accent across the top before we go inside to start to dig out the actual mine itself. It's important to remember that the floor of a mine is gradually going to move outside and inside, so you've got to merge the two. The walls are exactly the same. Don't forget the walls or the ceiling. We're digging further down, but I don't want to go too far. This isn't the actual mine, it's the mine entrance. Once we're a little way in, I create a chiseled look as the mine continues down into the bowels of the earth. We then start the decoration and the detailing, blocks that they've mined, workstations that they use, and we give it a more weathered, used look. And then we detail up outside the mine. It's important to look at the outside as well as the inside. We bring in bulrushes, we bone meal around the earth, we give it a little bit of light, and then we put in some vines and also some bushes just to create a little bit of atmosphere. This simple mine has been detailed from the outside to the inside, and it's actually very, very simple if you put it down to it. We have got the floor starting to merge into the inside as that wood begins to dissipate and the stone gets stronger. We've got all of the ore blocks, a few of the workstations. These struts definitely look strong enough to be able to hold up the ceiling, which is very important in a mine. And then as you get in a little bit further, it starts to go down as if it's been chipped away by a pickaxe. You could use this mine design pretty much anywhere. It wouldn't have to be in a plains. You don't even have to have it by a lake. It could be anywhere you wanted it. Come and take a look yourself. The world download link is in the description below. I'm going to jump on this little portal and take us to the second one. For the mesa, we used a far more simple looking build using spruce to create a domed roof that goes into those rocks. We've used acacia because it's quite a stony looking wood and it offsets against the terracotta really nicely and works against the red sand too. We wound this mine shaft going right before we started to dig down. Once we turned right a little bit, we began the descent and then, like the last one, used a chopping out method to make it look like pickaxes had done all the work. Finally, we dressed up this mine shaft, merging in the ground from the outside, flowing into the inside, using lots of posts because this is a relatively old-fashioned type of design, bringing in things like mine carts and rails and lots of gold because it's almost certainly going to be prospectors that are going to be using this mine. We then brought in TNT because perhaps they've been blasting the stuff out to get down to the depths. Finally, we brought in some workstations and an anvil to make the place look used. I actually really like the simplicity of this design in the Mesa. It's made to look as if it could have been built 100 years ago, or maybe only last week. As we wind down through this red sand, we can see where the ores and the TNT have been placed outside ready for collection. Not really any barrels or storage, because these guys are just mine carting everything out. They'll probably using horses. We've got workstations where they're perhaps smelting up their stuff, anvils where they're doing a little bit of steel work, and then more TNT at the back. They're probably going to blast their way down. This design is less likely to look right in the plains or somewhere like that, but in the canyons of the Mesa, it fits in perfectly. Let's get ourselves over to the next one. So I thought we'd go for something just a little bit different and unpredictable with this one, and I'm using some polished blackstone variants, whether it's blackstone bricks or chiseled blackstone. Throwing in a few campfires there just to give a bit of texture to that roof, because otherwise it's just going to be way too black. And we then bore into the mountainside, bringing in some dark oak, because dark go with the blackstone just seemed to make sense to me. We're going straight into the mountain rather than curving around, and we're progressively going down fairly early rather than having a long flat straight like we have in the previous two mines. Like the last mines, at the end, rather than digging a long tunnel, I've chiselled it out to make it look as if someone's gone at it with a pickaxe, and I'm then filling in the sides with different types of stone, cobblestone, stone brick, that kind of thing, just to give it a bit of side texture, so as it looks like it's been chiselled out properly and then crafted to create a more elegant shape. Adding more light with chains and also lanterns, and using dark oak gates as well to look like it's supporting those sides of the wall. I then texture up the floor, not just inside the mine but also outside the mine. It needs to flow from inside to outside, outside to inside, so we use path blocks, coarse dirt and a little bit of gravel, and progressively stop the stone and bring the dirt inside. We then put some fences and a little bit of lighting just to show where the entrance is. We then start to detail up. We put some mine carts in, some ore blocks. These guys have been pretty laborious getting all of the stuff out here. We also throw some TNT again in. It's quite a modern looking mine. TNT, still a very modern way to mine. And I thought just to complement that nether block, I'd also bring in a little bit of weeping vine as well. It adds some colour that wouldn't be there otherwise. And finally, it's not just inside the mine that matters, it's outside. We bring in my favourite block, the bush block, to give us a bit of a surround that also makes it look as if it's been overgrown and is one with the natural surroundings of the place. Spider webs, just to give it a little bit of character. Within this horseshoe valley, this blackstone mine entrance works really well. It's as if some ancient civilization perhaps made it, or maybe a new modern mindscape. I love the dark oak inside, and that colour accent from the weeping vines really works well. It's also really simple on the inside, just dark oak, a bit of stone and some decoration with ore blocks, but oh my goodness, you could really make something beautiful in terms of a mine entrance if you were to go down doing more mining here. Like this one very much, but we've still got 2 to go. Now you're going to need to bear with this one, because at the moment it just looks like a cobblestone tube. I decided to move away from the wood outer and make this more of a rocky build. It does however still follow the same form and function, with the mine shaft going in through the middle. I used spruce wood for this one because I thought it complemented the rocky stones beautifully. I started to break up that cobblestone by using some andesite and some normal stone as well. I then brought in a little bit of the mossy block just to bring up some colour from the ground. I tried to keep it on the lowest level. I then tried to smooth out that tube so it wasn't so tube-like into the back of the rocks, and then put more mossy around the top so as it looks like we've had some growth. Once I'd pretty much finished all the texturing of that rock, and that was a lot of rock to texture, I thought I'd bring up some wooden struts near the front. I made them ever so slightly asymmetrical to make it look a little bit more interesting, and then use some spruce stairs to give extra support. I then dug into the back of the rock again to look as if it's been made to pick. I gave an overhang on that tube there and put some water accents throughout the entire build. I needed to get the path winding up to this mine, so I created that as it went down the hill and then went back inside to add a little bit more detail using long grass, ferns and also vines on the inside and out. Added some ore blocks, mainly gold, and then put some TNT in there as well. I needed to make it look like nature was trying to reclaim this hole in the mountain, so these bushes flowed over the top of the mine shaft as well as all over around the hill. I then took some bone meal and added some extra detail so as it looked a little bit wilder. I'm really pleased with the way this fella came out, with the detailing on the outside and the inside complementing each other. It's the perfect mine for some mountain living. I just used gold ore, but I did accent with the blue of the water using sea pickles to add a little bit of extra light over and above the lanterns that we've got inside there already. Grass, ferns, vines, all sorts of colour prodding through this entire mine, and obviously TNT, mine carts and all sorts happening towards the back. That's 4 mine shafts. We need to visit another biome to do our last. I thought we'd have some fun with this one, so I've brought in some warped woods and also a little bit of prismarine, which really complements that green of the warped wood to create the roof and the struts of this particular mine shaft. We then use more warped wood to create the first section of wall. It's quite a thin one because we didn't have a lot of wall to play with, but I think it works. We then carried on digging and kept stone the other side of the second warped stem. We had to go down quite sharply because behind that back wall there is a big old cave and I didn't want to break into it. We used acacia slabs and steps to bring the orange accent against the green of the warped wood, and I think it works beautifully. We also put some shelf-like units on the inside that support some lanterns. The detailing of this one isn't that complicated because we've got a fairly thin shaft, but we brought in some green emerald, some blue lapis, and down at the bottom a little bit of redstone. We also used the twisting vines just to bring more green into it, because obviously not enough green, and just a little bit more green with some normal vines as well perhaps. A little bit more detailing on the inside, including some mine carts, and then it came for the path winding into the front of the mine shaft, and then lots and lots of bushes. This is a jungle. It is going to be very, very green. Like the other 4 mine shafts, this one was completely freestyled, and I've got to be honest, I didn't know how it was going to work out. I had less space to work with, and I thought, let's just have some fun. Green, green, and a little bit more green. But you know what? I think it works with the jungle backdrop. Just walking along this very bushy path, we've got plenty of light, we've got the orange accent from that acacia, and we've got a relatively short mine, and that's because of the blooming great big cave behind that back wall, which is a bit of a shame. I probably would have liked to have dug a little bit further, but all in all, I think it looks quite nice. Let's get ourselves back to that spawning area. 5 completely freestyled, very different mine entrances there, different biomes, different styles. Let me know which one do you prefer, the one in the plains, the one in the mesa, the one in the savannah, the one in the mountains, or the one in the jungle. Let me know in the comments below and proceed the message with #best. Remember, this one is available to download, link is in the description below. Please do come and have a look, and if you like one of them, maybe you can just live there. You always could. Just come backwards and forwards with all the teleports and you can find exactly the best one for you. If you have enjoyed this video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you're enjoying them, and I will keep on making them. Also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to see you in my sub club, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.